The Women's World Championship has been vacated, and now is as good a time as any to ask the question, who should be the next Women's World Champion? First and foremost, though, congratulations to Jimmy Uso and Naomi, who are now expecting a child. That is amazing news. The only thing is that Jimmy didn't proceed with caution after all. But I'm super happy for the two. This is an awesome development. And I mean, if you look at Naomi's last few months in her career, it's got to be like the best time of her life. She won Money in the Bank, won the Women's World Championship. She got like a brand new entrance at SummerSlam. Things are going very, very well for her, and now she has a child on the way. So congratulations to them. Very, very happy. But this is wrestling after all, and we have to look forward to the future, and that means who is next for the Women's World Championship? Well, I asked this question over on Twitter, and it got a lot of replies. Holy crap, almost 1 million views. People want to talk about who is next. By the way, this photo, the fact that she laid the title right on top of the Slim Jim is hilarious. But what we're going to do today is we're going to break down every single person who you guys have suggested that could be next for the Women's World Championship. There's a lot of names out there, but there's only a select few that actually have a chance, so let's get into it. So let's start here with easily the most requested name, Stephanie Vaquer, and this one makes a lot of sense when you take a look at it, right? She was called up to the main roster after winning the NXT Championship. She qualified for the Money in the Bank ladder match, had a great showing inside Money in the Bank, then proceeded to win the 20-person over the top rope battle royal at Evolution to become the #1 contender for said world heavyweight title. She's right there. She is the natural progression forward for this championship, right? I mean, if you believe that she was going to be the one to beat Naomi at Clash in Paris, then yeah, she might be the next logical step. And if that was always the plan, then this is a no-brainer to put the championship on Vaquer. Make a new star, get some fresh matchups on the main roster, some exciting matchups. And of course, the fans are super duper into Stephanie, so it's not a bad call at all. But part of me wonders, is it too soon for Stephanie Vaquer right now? I mean, it's on one hand, you can just put the championship on her and, like I said, make a whole brand new star that people are invested in right now. But if you go the slower play here, maybe she has to work her way up the roster again. Like, you think about it, there's a lot of matches here for Stephanie that she has not had yet, and she maybe doesn't need the championship right away to get to that main event level, right? Maybe she needs to take a little bit more of a stepping stone path forward, like going through an Asuka, like going through a Bianca Belair, like going through a Rhea Ripley before she can become the champion. I personally like the idea of her facing those people as a champion and being almost this underdog champion who has something to prove, a little bit of a chip on her shoulder, if you will. But either way, Stephanie is going to be a Women's World Champion in WWE. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's just a matter of when. I really do like the idea also of her coming super close to winning that championship before maybe getting screwed over by her next feud, or maybe she just gets rolled up and she's not quite there yet. I don't have her being the next Women's World Champion, unfortunately, but I think she'll get really, really close at Paris. How about Natalya, though? The low-key legend character was recently debuted at Triple Mania, and everybody kind of went bonkers over it, and rightfully so. It looked like a badass character that has some legs in WWE should they lean into it, right? Like, Natalya is one of those talents that has just been there forever, but she is so criminally underrated in what she can do in that ring. Like, I think if you asked anybody in the women's division who is the most technically sound wrestler on the roster, a lot of people would say Natalya. She's that damn good, and there's a reason why every time somebody comes into the WWE, they put them with Natalya to train them, to test them, to see if they can actually get it done inside the ring. Natalya is an icon. But let's also face it, Natalya hasn't held the title in, what, 8 years or something like that? It's been a hot minute, and the last time that she held a championship, she didn't necessarily light the world on fire. This is no shot at Natalya, she just wasn't booked that well. But if you were ever going to hit the reset button on Natalya, this is the time to do it. People are actually getting behind this character. The low-key legend, Natalya Neidhart, has something to offer in WWE. Now, the question is that at the main event level? Is that in a Women's World Championship picture when you do have some young, exciting talent coming along? That might just be a better option. I don't necessarily know, but it's not my first pick for Natalya, but I'll say this. I would be interested if she did win the Women's World Championship, especially as the low-key legend. Now, speaking of some of that younger talent, Roxanne Perez is one of the most interesting names on this list because Roxanne has proven that when she's hot-shotted right into a title position like she was down in NXT, she thrives. She elevates the entire division and she brings everybody up to her level. I've yet to see a bad Roxanne Perez match, and I think that she could just light the world on fire if she was given the opportunity in WWE. Like, because before there was Stephanie Vaquer, there was Roxanne Perez taking over NXT, and she looked like she was going to be the next big thing, a prodigy, if you will. And all of a sudden, now that she's on the main roster in a great position alongside of Raquel Rodriguez in the Judgment Day, it looks like there could be a path forward to having Roxanne Perez winning the Women's World Championship. I just think of the stories that we could have, right? If Liv Morgan comes back and Roxanne is holding on to the gold, maybe Dominic is a little more tempted that Roxanne has the championship now, and maybe that caused a rift between Liv and Dom. Maybe Raquel Rodriguez is jealous that her former tag team partner is now holding on to a championship that she has yet to hold on to. Remember, Roxanne Perez has only been here for a cup of coffee compared to Raquel Rodriguez. Raquel was a former NXT Women's Champion years ago, yet Raquel hasn't been able to win the big title on the main roster. And the prodigy can? I sense some jealousy there. It would also lean into the idea that the Judgment Day does have each other's backs, but they don't technically really always have each other's backs, right? There's always like a little rift in the Judgment Day, and this would just be another one to their story. And the thing is also, we could say that Roxanne Perez is maybe too young, maybe it's too soon for her, but I do feel like she is ready for a position like this if she was gifted the opportunity. It still feels like there's other potential challengers that make more sense today, but in a year's time, if you told me Roxanne Perez was a champion, I would not be surprised at all. One of those veteran talents that could very well fit right back into the title picture is Bianca Belair. And I mean, we're talking about the EST of WWE, right? The best, the roughest, the fastest, the toughest, the whateverist you want to call her. Bianca Belair has been there, done that, won multiple world championships over, and there's no reason why she couldn't come back and just lead a division forward. There's also a little bit more of a story element there if Bianca Belair is the person to take the title away from Naomi after Naomi didn't really lose the championship, right? And then you have Naomi come back and you have Bianca Belair and Naomi continue their epic feud together. Like, I could see the progression forward from that. And you also mix in Jade Cargill with this whole situation, and the women's world title picture becomes very interesting. Not to mention, you could then also have Iyo Sky, Bianca Belair. You could have Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair. You could have Stephanie Vaquer, Bianca Belair. Roxanne Perez, Bianca Belair. There's a lot of great matches that make sense that Bianca would help elevate other talent to her level, and thus making the championship feel 10 times more important. The more I talk about it, the more I actually think Bianca Belair might be the best option. But I guess also the thing is that if you do put the championship on Bianca Belair, that might piss off some fans that want to see a younger talent rise to the occasion. You know, if you have Bianca Belair winning this thing, then then maybe you're taking a spot away from a young up-and-coming talent, and then people turn on Bianca Belair, and then you just have a whole shit show moving forward. Unless you lean into it, right? Maybe Bianca Belair returns as a heel. Maybe somehow, some way we see a bad girl in Bianca. I'd be all right with that as well. But regardless, there's certainly legs to the idea of Bianca being the one to take the championship and move the division forward. I like this pick. Or we could simply go back to the previous Women's World Champion in Iyo Sky. Let's face it, before Iyo Sky got cashed in on to lose the championship, she was crushing it, tearing the house down, putting on entertaining match after entertaining match, and she's got this great feud going on with Rhea Ripley right now. It seems like there's something maybe bubbling on the surface with Asuka. Maybe Iyo Sky and Kairi Sane could face off against each other. There's a lot of matches that are available for Iyo Sky. Of course, then you've also got Iyo and Stephanie Vaquer. You could elevate maybe somebody like a Lyra Valkyria to face an Iyo Sky for the title. There's lots of ways forward for the championship if we put it back on Iyo. But the problem is that is kind of just putting the championship back on somebody that we recently saw win the title. I don't know if that develops the women's division and makes it more interesting moving forward. I would be hella interested in the matchups that are still available for Iyo, but also we've seen some of those matches already. If we could get a new talent in there, somebody that hasn't been holding onto that gold recently, it might freshen up the division just that much more. But I'm also not against doing the Iyo thing as the champion again. Come on now. What about the Empress of Tomorrow? Could we see Asuka win a world championship in 2025? This is intriguing. I really do like this pick because it would automatically re-legitimize Asuka. I feel like recent years, Asuka hasn't been viewed as the same badass that she was down in NXT. It's been a long time since she's been viewed on that level, but she's become further and further away from that scared, feared entity that she once was. Now she's just kind of there. Not a lot of people fear Asuka when they see her. I need people to start being scared of her again. Like, Asuka's at her best when she embraces her full Kana character character, and there's a really good chance that she could unlock that deeper, darker side yet again by becoming the women's world champion. Imagine the feuds once again we could see between Iyo Sky and Asuka. If Kairi Sane gets an opportunity against the women's world champion in Asuka, that would elevate Kairi to a whole new level. And then you add in a Bianca Belair matchup, a Rhea Ripley matchup. You throw in, like I mentioned again, like if we have the Lyra Valkyria come up and face her for the title, that would elevate Lyra to a whole new level. There's lots of reasons to put the championship on Asuka, and it would be a title run that we haven't seen recently, something that would be interesting, and especially with the dynamic that we have with Iyo Sky and Kairi Sane. Like, that is right there. That story is ready to go. I like it even better if, like, maybe we get a tournament finals of some sort where it is Iyo Sky versus Asuka, and Asuka turns heel to beat Iyo Sky to take the championship away, right? If we could start leaning into that darker character, there is something here for an Asuka title run. Another person that was highly requested is Raquel Rodriguez, as Wheezy said right here, and a bunch of other people in my replies said. Raquel Rodriguez is a very interesting idea for the Women's World Championship for basically everything I said about Roxanne Perez, only for Raquel. Can you imagine if Roxanne starts to get a little jealous that Raquel has won the Women's World Championship? Can you imagine if Liv Morgan returns and is jealous that Raquel is holding on to that championship? That just Liv Morgan's former bodyguard, essentially, her tag team partner, has now taken over this championship while Liv Morgan was out injured. I like that direction. I also like the idea of the Judgment Day helping out in some of her matches to help her sneak by and keep winning. But there's no question about it. Raquel Rodriguez has performed so well in that ring lately. It was not that long ago she got some advice from Kevin Nash to work bigger because she is a big powerhouse in the WWE. And ever since she's taken that advice to heart, her matches have been so damn entertaining. It's a lot more reminiscent of her when she was down in NXT when she did work as a big powerhouse. There was a little moment there where she wasn't working as big as she possibly could have, but now we're seeing so many more power moves. We're seeing these power bombs, these crazy lifts from her. She's just whipping people around the ring like they're nothing. The big boots to the face, all of it. Raquel Rodriguez is one of the most interesting performers on the roster that we have yet to tap into their potential with. Even if we got like a fatal four-way match to determine the winner of the world title, if we had Raquel walk out as a winner, I think people would be very excited for the direction that we're moving in. And let's not forget how we've seen Raquel Rodriguez work as a top champion. Some of the matches that she has had, I think back to those matches with Dakota Kai, the stories that she told through it were excellent. There is absolutely zero reason why Raquel wouldn't crush it as the Women's World Champion. And if I could pick somebody, I'd love to see Raquel get the title. Now, some people suggested Alexa Bliss, and this one I thought about for a minute. I'm like, yeah, that could make sense. Alexa Bliss, you know, she's just tagging alongside of Charlotte Flair. You know, maybe there's something there with Alexa, but honestly, I just don't see this happening. I don't see any reason why Alexa Bliss would not only come on over from Friday Night SmackDown and end her partnership with Charlotte Flair just to go over to Raw and become a singles competitor again. Like, I think they got too much going on with Charlotte and Alexa right now to even touch that. It's not going to happen, but hey, it's a cool idea to see Alexa Bliss back in the women's world title picture. Just has me thinking, though, a year from now, I would love to see a full-fledged feud between Alexa and Charlotte over a top-tier title. It'd be great if it was over like the women's world title or the WWE Undisputed Championship. Just saying. Now, we've talked about the Bird Lady a little bit throughout this video, but we haven't actually talked about the possibility of her winning the Women's World Championship. And I don't mind this. Let's break it down because the Bird Lady has done some great stuff on the main roster. She became the first ever Women's Intercontinental Champion. And if WWE has a history of anything, it's using the IC Championship as the workhorse title to test and see if you are set for the next big thing. It's a stepping stone championship. And I do wonder if WWE is now going to elevate Lyra Valkyria further up that card. She crushed it in the Becky Lynch feud. She crushed it with Bayley. She crushed it as the Women's IC Champion. I don't see why she shouldn't get an opportunity. She's already proven down in NXT that she can hold her own as the NXT Champion. So, like, if you want to make a new star, this is the way to do it. Put the women's mid-card title on them. Test them for a little while. Run big programs. Run literally one of the biggest programs that was going on in WWE, Becky versus Lyra, and then move that character forward up the card. Lyra Valkyria getting an opportunity for the women's world title would be a great move. And if WWE wanted to lean into this idea that we are getting a new women's world champion, somebody that hasn't been there before, somebody like Roxanne Perez, somebody like Raquel Rodriguez, Lyra Valkyria, or whoever, Stephanie Vaquer. If you have a young guns fatal four-way to determine the future of the women's world title, I really think that could draw some eyes, and it would put a lot of intrigue on the Clash in Paris match. It might not be fair to Stephanie Vaquer, who's already earned her opportunity at the women's world title, but if you want to just push the young women's division forward and showcase what type of talent that you have there, that would be a great way to do it. And if Lyra Valkyria did win the championship, she would have this underdog run as champion. And sometimes those stories are very entertaining to watch. If you had people like Bianca Belair saying that, hey, you just got here, you're new, like, hey, you don't stand a chance against me. Same with Rhea Ripley. It would elevate Lyra Valkyria to a whole new level. I just don't know if it will make the championship feel like a bigger deal or if it feels like potentially a step back because we got to build the character up to that level. Either way, it would be for good TV. It'd make for very entertaining TV. What about Kairi Sane? Could she be the next women's world champion? Part of me says no. I don't think Kairi Sane is quite at that level yet. I feel like she needs to compete for the women's IC title or like the women's United States championship first before she even remotely gets put onto that same level as, like, you know, some of the other younger stars that are in this business. However, Kairi Sane is not just a young up-and-coming star. She's somebody who has been there, done that. She won the Mae Young Classic, for goodness sake. That was back in, 2017? It has been a hot minute, 2018, whatever it was. It's been a hot minute since Kairi Sane has been viewed at that level of being a top-tier star in the women's division. If you want just a random shot in the dark, somebody to try and just say, hey, let's see if we can make a star, Kairi Sane is not the worst opportunity, right? You could have this shocking moment of Kairi capturing the title. Iyo Sky could be shocked. Asuka could be shocked. Rhea Ripley could be shocked. You name it. Everybody would be like, oh my God, Kairi Sane has the championship. We didn't see that coming. And maybe all of a sudden you have a new star created in Kairi Sane. There's certainly a story to go around with her dynamic with Asuka and Iyo Sky. So it's not the worst thing in the world. I don't think it's the one that is going to light everybody's imagination on fire and saying, oh my God, we got all these dream matches. But also, Kairi Sane has the best damn elbow drop in the business, and when she's allowed to go out there and perform, there's very few that are as good as her. So it's not a terrible choice, to be truthful. What is that? Truthful? What type of word? What, am I having a stroke? Okay, let's move on. What the hell just happened there? Now, what about Bayley? Could she be the next women's world champion? There's no chance for it, right? I mean, she is debuting this new type of character who hears voices in the air. A bit of a split personality, if you will. I don't know if she's going back to being a hugger Bayley. I don't know if she's going back to Karen Bayley or if this is just some new reformed version of Bayley. But whatever it is, she's going through some dark stuff right now. And I don't know if a championship is going to pull her out of that dark place. She feels like she needs to work on herself first before she can focus on something else, right? It does feel like maybe Bayley's going to hover around the mid-card division for a little bit, similar to how Becky Lynch is reinventing herself at this point in time with the IC title. I feel like Bayley might be that next person to revitalize their career in the mid-card. Get to try out some new things before moving them back up to the main event scene where they belong, right? Bayley can certainly elevate some of the younger stars in the division if she became the women's world champion, so it can't be just completely written off. And I mean, if you've got this new character going on, there's certainly some intrigue for Bayley. So I won't say it's impossible, but I also wouldn't say Bayley is high on my likely list to be the next women's world champion. Now, if Liv Morgan is cleared and healthy to return, it would be a great choice to have Liv Morgan return and win the women's world championship. There would just be so much story now moving forward with Liv. Again, you can obviously revisit everything with Rhea Ripley. Bianca Belair is right there. We mentioned the stuff that's going on with Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez. Maybe Roxanne and Raquel are jealous of Liv coming back and getting that opportunity and taking that away from them when they held down the fort for the Judgment Day. There could be something there. And again, that little rift that could be developed in the Judgment Day that always seems to be part of their story would just continue to grow and grow before maybe you get a one-on-one match between Roxanne and Liv Morgan or Raquel and Liv Morgan. Either or, it would be good TV. It just doesn't feel like Liv Morgan is ready to return yet, and I actually have Liv Morgan penned as the Royal Rumble winner in 2026 for the women's division. So we'll see if she comes back, and if she is able to come back early, it would be a great time for her to come back and become the women's world champion. But what about about Chelsea Green, okay? What about her? Could she be the next Women's World Champion? I like this idea, and the more I think about it, I think it would make for some very fun television. There's no reason why she couldn't win the Women's World Championship, right? She's been a mid-card champion, right? The first ever Women's United States Champion, the greatest Women's United States Champion of all time, I might add. She's got this faction around her who could help elevate her in stories. You could have her face off against other people. You could have trios matches against her. Like, it seems like there would be a lot of legs to run with Chelsea Green and the Secret Service by her side. It just probably isn't viewed as a main event act right now. It doesn't mean that it couldn't be, and if you did put a championship on her, it would elevate it. It almost feels like JC Jane and Toxic Attraction down in... Not Toxic Attraction, Fatal Influence. I'm sorry, I always get the names mixed up. But it almost feels like down in NXT with JC Jane and Fatal Influence, where they were a unit, they had some momentum going on for a little while, but it didn't feel like they were going to be at that main event level. Before all of a sudden JC Jane just started winning championships, and now all of a sudden Fatal Influence is one of the top tier acts in NXT, right? It feels like we could have that type of momentum with Alba Fire, Piper Niven, and Chelsea Green. There's no reason why, if you strap the rocket onto them and you push them to the moon, that people wouldn't take the faction seriously. So the idea of Chelsea Green crossing over from SmackDown, going to Raw, and winning the Women's World Championship is very interesting, but it's just... I don't see it happening, unfortunately. Okay, ain't no way somebody put Pimpinella in this. But to finish it off, this was probably the best suggestion that I've seen in how the development of the Women's World title should go. From Greg Morgan at Good Mic Work, he says, Iyo at Clash, so Iyo wins at Clash in Paris, Rhea Ripley wins in Perth, and then Stephanie Vaquer wins it at WrestleMania, meaning that it is Rhea Ripley versus Stephanie Vaquer at WrestleMania 42, which I kind of want that. But let me know if I missed anyone. Let me know if you agree or disagree with my list or my takes. I want to hear your thoughts down in the comments section below, because it could literally be anybody. Let me know how you would go about booking this. Would it be a tournament? Should it just be a #1 contenders match? Give me all your thoughts about it down in the comments below. And also, while you're down there, make sure you leave a like on this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on those notifications, and keep coming back right here, because we upload lots of pro wrestling content. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.